Hi, Oakland and friends. Thanks for joining us today. I'm so glad you are here. Today, we gather to worship the Lord together, in person and online, to sit at the feet of Jesus and listen to his words. We are the church. We need each other. We are better together. And we're at our best when we are on mission. And I just want to say, I'm so grateful for the ways in which you have continued to be the church throughout these months, continuing to make disciples, to serve others, and to represent Christ in your homes, workplaces, and neighborhoods. But it's very easy to become distracted today. And in the midst of all that is going on in our nation, in our world, what is the one thing we need to remember? I'm asking, what can we rejoice in? What does God call us to prioritize? What is the one thing most important? Distracted or devoted? Luke tells us the story in chapter 10, verses 38 to 42. As Jesus and the disciples continued on their way to Jerusalem, they came to a certain village where a woman named Martha welcomed them into her home. And her sister Mary sat at the Lord's feet listening to his words, but Martha was distracted by the big dinner she was preparing. She came to Jesus and said, "Lord, doesn't it seem unfair to you that my sister just sits here while I do all the work? Tell her to come and help me." But the Lord said to her, "My dear Martha, you are worried and upset over all these details. There is only one thing worth being concerned about. Mary has chosen it, and it will not be taken away from her." First, we see Martha's problem. Now, she was a lovely hostess, working hard, serving food, showing great hospitality. Just imagine that delicious Mediterranean food. Yet she's distracted, anxious, troubled. I've been there. Now, Martha was a diligent, faithful disciple, but her priorities are wrong. She didn't devote time. Now, we are all unique. We each have a purpose and a value. Yet our role as disciples of Jesus takes priority. That is, we are disciples first, that's our identity, who we are, and our service is second, that's our activity and what we do. Now, I don't think Mary was work shy or lazy here. She likely served, but still she sat at Jesus' feet. Now, Martha says, "We've got to do all this for Jesus." And Mary says, "It's okay. The dishes can sit in the sink, so to speak. Let's be with Jesus first." And Martha's real problem isn't Mary. It was distraction from the one priority. Good has become the enemy of the best, and now Martha has become critical of Mary. Always a danger. Comparison is a trap. And Martha goes and confronts Jesus about Mary, and she throws a pity party right there among the guests. But I wonder if she's really asking, "Jesus, do you love me?" First, we see Martha's problem, and next we see Mary's posture. Sitting at the feet is a common posture of learning from rabbis. And for Mary to do this would have shocked most Jewish men. But what Mary demonstrates here is a hunger to learn from Jesus. To sit at the feet of Jesus implies a readiness to obey what Jesus teaches. It implies faith in Jesus, submission to Jesus. It implies growth in discipleship and loving Jesus. So, amid all the duties of life, we must spend time as disciples sitting at his feet. Amid all the things we have to do in life, we must spend time as disciples sitting at the feet of Jesus. That's the posture of Mary. And next we see Jesus' point. As always, he goes right to the heart. The Lord answers Martha with compassion in his voice. Martha, my beloved Martha, I can see you're torn up. Why are you upset and troubled, pulled away by all these distractions? Are they really that important? Mary has discovered the one thing most important by choosing to sit at my feet. She is undistracted, and I won't take this privilege from her. What is the one thing we need? What is the one thing? To be devoted to Jesus, sitting at his feet, listening to his words. Psalm 27, verse 4 says, "One thing I have desired of the Lord, that will I seek, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life." The one thing I crave, seek above all else. I want the privilege of living with him every moment, filled with awe, delighting in his grace, studying at his feet. What is the one thing? It's the key to everything. It's the success of so many godly women and men across the centuries. What you must focus your entire life on is this, simply one thing. Be devoted to Jesus, loving him by listening to his word. Jesus says when we do this, it won't be taken away. Sitting at Jesus' feet means peace. It means holiness. It means strength. For the joy of the Lord will be your strength. It means wisdom. It means devotion and passion. It means love. And that can't be taken away from you. Like Martha did years ago, I want you to hear Jesus saying your name today. Child, only one thing is needed. Now, people say we need lots of things: justice, peace, healing, love, and unity. And it's true, we need those things, but we need first to sit at the feet of Jesus and hear his words. Those things will only come when we sit at the feet of Jesus and hear his words. The principle is this: when we are faithful with little, God puts us in charge of more, and God gives us more. Only one thing is essential, and Mary has chosen it. It's the main course. It won't be taken away from her. Jesus says, Mary has chosen the good portion. Forget the appetizers. Forget the soup, the salad, the dessert. Only one dish is needed, the main course. Only one thing is needed. Now, if I'm honest, I have to ask myself, do I actually believe that? Is it reflected in my time and actions? What is the one thing most important to me? Jesus said Mary was doing the one thing needed, but also that she had chosen the good portion. It was a choice. And today, I am calling you to make that choice. Will you sit at the feet of Jesus and listen to his words? To do this, you might schedule appointments this week to sit down with Jesus and hear his words. Try going to Matthew chapter 11, verses 28 to 30. Read the words of Jesus and meditate on them. Even memorize them. Sit down long enough for Jesus to speak to you. Now, Lisa Chan says, imagine that God invited you to a great banquet. You see a magnificent table overflowing with spiritual food. Everything you need is on that table: comfort, wisdom, peace, love, worth, joy, victory, forgiveness, truth, patience. The list goes on and on. And God's heart is that you would sit down with him at the table and eat as much as you need to walk away deeply satisfied and equipped with everything good that you may do God's will. But so many of us don't sit and eat. We may dash in for a quick bite, but the little burst of energy fizzles out quickly. We may stand outside the door waiting for others who have had their fill to come and bring us leftovers, which makes no sense when we are given a personal invitation. Or are we sadly crawling around, picking up crumbs, wondering why we feel so spiritually empty and weak? Come to the bountiful table of Jesus. Sit with your generous Lord, the Lord of the feast, and feed your starving soul. The table is prepared. Jesus is waiting. Will you do the one thing and sit at his feet, listening to his words? I hope you do. And may God bless you. Love you guys.